Hi, this is Rachel from HelleboreCrochet. Today I'm going to show you guys how to create the Hot Cocoa Bralette in size 4 cotton yarn. So this is the same basic design as the Hot Cocoa Bralette tutorial for the size 6 yarn that I already have on my channel. But this version is much more appropriate for spring or for summer. Okay, and I'm going to be demonstrating the size small that has the smallest amount of cup shaping. So I have a pattern available for everybody who would like to be able to have all the different sizes, and that is going to be linked in the description box below. And that pattern has multiple different variations depending on the cup size that you want. Alright, so there is a version that is a little bit flatter, so there's less difference between the ribbing and the cups. And then this version is the next one up with some cup shaping. And then there's two more versions, the next one with even more cup shaping, and then the last one with even more cup shaping, so that there's even greater of a difference between the bottom ribbing and the cups for people who have a larger chest size. Okay. So for this tutorial, you are going to want a size 4 yarn. You can use any kind of size 4 you want, but since this is going to be for summer, I used 100% cotton. And the specific yarn I used, it's called I Love This Cotton. Okay, it's 100% cotton, size 4. And the color is called Rosy. Okay, so this skein had 180 yards or 165 meters on it, and I used a little bit more than one skein for this size top. You will also want a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, and then optionally you can also use a size D or C crochet hook, so anything smaller than this for the bottom ribbing. I did not do that in the tutorial, but you can do that if you would like. Then you're going to want 2 buttons. And this is for the straps on the back, so 2 of them. And the ones that I used are 14 millimeters wide. And then you will want some scissors, a tapestry needle to weave in your ends, a needle to sew the buttons on, and then some thread to sew your buttons on. So once you have your materials together, we are ready to get started. So to begin, take your yarn, make your slip knot, insert your hook, and now we are going to create a chain of 28. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on until you have 28 total chains. Our first row is going to create the holes for the corset tie at the back of the bralette. So we're going to skip the very first chain and then place a single crochet into the next one. Chain 1, skip the next chain, and now place 3 single crochet. Okay, so those chain 1 spaces are going to be what creates the hole. So chain 1, skip the next chain, and then place 3 single crochet, 1 into each of the next 3 chains. Chain 1, skip the next chain, and place your 3 single crochet. So continue to do this until you have 2 chains left in your row. I have my 2 remaining chains. I've just finished 3 single crochet. So to finish this row, chain 1, skip the next chain, and then place a single crochet into the final chain. For our second row, begin by chaining up of 1 and turning your work. This row we are simply going to be placing single crochets all the way down the row. Okay, so into that first stitch, place your single crochet. Now into the chain 1 space, place a single crochet. Now we have our 3 single crochets in a row, right there to go into, and then in our chain 1 space, that single crochet. So go ahead and place 1 single crochet into each stitch and 1 single crochet into each chain 1 space all the way down your row. Okay, our next row is going to start our main pattern for the back portion of the bralette. Okay, so to begin the next row, chain 1 and turn your work. We are going to skip the very first stitch, and then into that second stitch, place a single crochet. Now into this same stitch, place a double crochet. Now skip the next stitch, find the one after it, find the back loop only of this one. Okay. Into that back loop, place a single crochet, and then into that same back loop, place a double crochet. Okay, so this row will always begin with the stitches going into the stitch like normal, and then all the remaining stitches in this pattern will go into the back loops only. Okay, so skip the next stitch, find the back loop only of the next one, and then place your single crochet and then your double crochet into that back loop. Skip the next stitch, find the back loop of the next one, and then place that single crochet and that double crochet. Skip the next stitch, find the back loop of the next one, place your single crochet and then your double crochet. So keep doing that until you have 11 stitches remaining in your row. I have 11 stitches remaining in my row. So the rest of this row is going to begin the bottom ribbing portion of the bralette. So find the back loop of the very next stitch and then place a single crochet. Find the back loop of the next stitch and place a single crochet. That is how we will be creating our ribbing, by placing single crochets into the back loops only for this entire section. So back loop, single crochet, back loop, single crochet. Just like that all the way to the end of the row. So you can see that little ridge appearing. For our next row, chain 1 and turn, and then into those first 11 stitches, place a single crochet into the back loop only. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So if you would like to, you can place a stitch marker right here at this 11th stitch, so that as you keep doing this repeat, you don't have to count every single time. Whenever you get to the marker, you can just know that you switched to your bottom ribbing, and then it's just can be easier. Some people prefer to do that. Okay, so now we are at the portion where we begin this Suzette stitch into the back loop only. So we will skip the very first stitch, find the back loop only of that second stitch, and then place our single crochet and then our double crochet into that stitch. So skip the next stitch, find the back loop only of the next one, and place your single and your double. So continue to do this all the way across your row until you have 2 stitches remaining in your row. I have my 2 remaining stitches. So at this point, we will switch to doing the same type of stitch, but we are going to go through both of the loops instead of finding the back loop only. So skip the next stitch, and then through both loops of the next one, place your single crochet and then your double crochet. So that will be the pattern for this row every time. Those 11 single crochet into the back loops only, then our Suzette stitch into the back loop only until the very final little Suzette stitch, which will go through both loops. So those last 2 rows are our repeat. I will go ahead and do it with you guys one more time, and then tell you the number of rows to create for this size. So chain 1, turn your work, and then remember that this row starts through both loops of the stitch that we want. So we skip the first stitch, find the second stitch, and then place a single crochet and a double crochet into that stitch. And then the rest of them will be in the back loop only. So skip the next stitch, find the back loop only of the next one, and place that single crochet and that double crochet. And then continue like that until you have your 11 stitches remaining for your ribbing portion. Once you have those 11 stitches left, switch to doing your single crochets into the back loops only for every single one of those 11 stitches. Okay, now for the next row in this repeat, chain 1 and turn, and then start with those 11 single crochet into the back loops only. Now we will switch to that Suzette Stitch pattern. So skip your next stitch, find the back loop only of the next one, and then place your single crochet and your double crochet. And then continue this down your row until you have those last 2 stitches remaining. Then at that end, be sure to switch to going through both loops. So skip the next stitch, and then into that final stitch, through both of the loops, place your single crochet, and then your double crochet. So we have created a total of 6 rows together so far. So I never count the chain row as a row, okay? So I start the count with the first row that makes those holes for the corset back. So we have 2, 4, and 6 rows completed. So at this point, you want to repeat the last 2 rows that we made together until you have 20 total rows. So I'm going to go ahead and make my rows, and then I will meet you guys back here. I have completed my 20 rows, so here is what my work looks like. Okay. So at this point, we are ready to switch to the lemon peel stitch portion for the front of the bralette. Okay. We will also start our increases to create that curve upward for the top of the very first cup area. So our next row will establish the lemon peel stitch portion. So go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. Into the very first stitch, place a single crochet. Now into the next stitch, place a double crochet. Now into the next one, a single crochet, and into the next one, a double crochet. So that creates our lemon peel stitch pattern. We will be switching between single crochets and double crochets the whole way across until we get to the bottom ribbing. So single crochet, and then double crochet, and your single, and your double. Okay, when you have those 11 remaining stitches, go ahead and do your ribbing by placing a single crochet into the back loop only of each stitch, all the way down. To begin the next row, chain 1, turn your work, and then begin with those 11 single crochet into the back loops only. Now we will switch to the lemon peel stitch. So we begin with a single crochet into the next stitch, and then a double crochet into the next one. Single crochet, and then double crochet. We are going to just repeat this pattern, alternating between our single crochets and our double crochets, all the way to the very end of the row. I don't know why my hook sounds squeaky, but it does. Okay, so my last two, there's my single, and I have one stitch left. This is an increase row. Okay, so this stitch is going to get 2 stitches. So first we will place that double crochet, and then into the same stitch, a single crochet. So there is our increase for this row. Our next row is not going to have an increase at the beginning. So since we ended with a single crochet this time, we need to start with a double crochet for the next row. So to do that, I'm going to chain 2 and then turn my work. Now this chain 2 is going to count as the double crochet for the very first stitch. So then into the very next one, I'll place that single crochet. And now we can just alternate like normal. Double, single, double and double and single and double all the way down. So go ahead and keep doing the lemon peel stitch, single, double, till you have your 11 stitches remaining. Create your ribbing, chain 1, turn your work, do 11 single crochet into the back loop only, and then create your single, double pattern on up, and I will meet you when I have 2 stitches remaining in the row. So I have 2 stitches remaining in my row, and I have just completed a single crochet in my pattern. So into the next stitch, I'll place my double crochet. Right? And then remember that we began with a chain 2 to count as the double crochet. So this can be a little tricky to see sometimes. Make sure that you don't miss it. Okay, so into that second chain of the chain 2, place single crochet, and then into that same chain space, place a double crochet. And that gives us the increase for this row. Now our next row will not have any increasing. So chain 1, turn, and then start with a single crochet into the first stitch, and then a double crochet into the next. Then go ahead and continue your lemon peel stitch on down. Make your 11 single crochet into the back loops only, chain 1 and turn, 11 single crochet into the back loop only, and then single double on up, and then again I will meet you when I have 2 stitches remaining. I have 2 stitches remaining in my row, and I just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch I'll place a single crochet, and now I'm ready for my increase stitch into the final stitch of the row. So I'll start with a double crochet into the stitch, and then into that same stitch a single crochet. So the next row does not have any increasing, and since we ended with a single, we must begin with a double. So I will chain up 2 and turn my work, And then just like before, that chain 2 counts as the double crochet for the first stitch. So I will place my single crochet into the next one. Then you can go ahead and complete your lemon peel stitch on down the row. Okay, so go ahead and do your single double on down, your 11 single crochet into the back loops only, chain 1, turn, 11 single crochet into the back loop only, and then single double on up, and again I will meet you with 2 stitches remaining. I have 2 stitches remaining, and I've just finished a single crochet. So into my next stitch I will place a double crochet, and then now I will find that second chain of my chain 2, place a single crochet into that chain space, and then into that same chain space a double crochet, and there is my increase. Our next 2 rows are going to place increases in this area of the bralette as well. So right when we're going down this way, it will be right before we start the ribbing, and then when we come back the other way, it will be right after the ribbing. So to begin this row, go ahead and chain 1 and turn, and then place your single crochet into the first stitch and your double crochet into the next one, and then continue with your lemon peel stitch down your row. So I have 1 stitch left in the lemon peel stitch portion before I start the ribbing. So I have 12 stitches left. So into this last lemon peel stitch, I'm going to be placing an increase. So first I will place a double crochet, then into the same stitch, a single crochet. Then I will complete my ribbing just like normal, with 11 single crochets into the back loops only. Then chain 1 and turn, and then start with your 11 single crochet into the back loops only. Now into this first stitch for our lemon peel stitch portion, we are going to place another increase. So to begin, place a single crochet, then into that same stitch, place a double. Having trouble with my yarn splitting a little bit here. There we go. Okay, so a single and a double into that same stitch. And then we are ready to continue with our lemon peel stitch as normal. So go ahead and continue that all the way up, and then I will meet you with 2 stitches left. So I have 2 stitches left, and I just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch I will place a single crochet, and then my last stitch is going to get another increase stitch. So I will begin with a double crochet into that stitch, and then into that same stitch a single crochet. So we are getting close to the place where the top of the cup will be. So I'm going to switch now to making increases at this top area every single row. Okay, so it will come up a little bit quicker. So chain 1 and turn. And then into this first stitch, we're going to place an increase. So begin with a single crochet into that stitch, then into that same stitch, a double crochet. So there is our increase. Right, then single into the next stitch, and double into the next, all the way down. Okay, so continue the pattern as we have been, finishing the lemon peel stitch, the ribbing, turning, the ribbing, and then that lemon peel stitch, and I will join you again with 2 stitches remaining. So I have my 2 stitches remaining, and I've just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch I will place a single, and then in my final stitch I'm placing an increase. So I will start with my double crochet, and then into the same stitch place my single crochet. Okay. So the next 2 rows are going to be shaping rows, which means that we will not be making the bottom ribbing for the next 2 rows, so that we can have a little bit more growth on the cup area. Okay, and then we're going to have one more increase before we're switching to no increasing for the little strap area. Okay, so these next 2 rows are a little bit more involved. So to begin, chain 1 and turn your work. So we're going to start with an increase. So into that very first stitch, place a single crochet, and then a double crochet. Now single crochet into the next stitch, and double crochet into the next one. Now we're going to do our lemon peel stitch down our row. Okay. So when we get to the end of the lemon peel stitch portion, we're going to be doing something different than we have been in order to move to complete our shaping. All right. So when you have your 11 single crochet for the ribbing left, and then 2 of the lemon peel stitches, okay, so 13 total stitches left, go ahead and meet me here, and I will show you how to do that shaping. So I have 2 stitches left in my lemon peel stitch portion. I've just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch I will place a single crochet. Then we would normally place a double crochet here and then do our ribbing. But for this row, we are going to place a single crochet into that stitch. And then into this first stitch here, where we would normally start our ribbing, we are going to place a slip stitch. Okay. Then turn your work. So we are going to be ignoring the slip stitch. It doesn't count as a stitch for us. Okay, Okay, so ignore this completely. We're not going to go into it. Into this stitch here, place a single crochet. Into the next one, a double crochet. Then single and a double. Right? So we are back to just doing our lemon peel stitch like normal. So go ahead and do the single double on up, and then I will meet you at the very end to complete the row. So I have 2 stitches remaining in my row, and I've just completed a double crochet. So this row is not going to have any increasing or decreasing because it is going to make the very top of our cup. So into the next stitch, place a single crochet, and then into that last stitch, place a double crochet. And then that is it. So our next row begins by chaining 1 and turning our work. And then this row is the next row for the top of our cup, so it also does not have any increasing or decreasing here. So we will just start with a single crochet into the first stitch, and then a double crochet into the next one. So single, and then double, and then single, and then double on down. Okay. So when I am close to this area where we are doing our shaping, I will meet you guys and show you how to finish this to begin the bottom ribbing again. Okay, so I am close to the end of this little area, so I thought I would start showing you guys from here. Okay, so I finished a double crochet last. So into my next stitch, I will place a single crochet, then a double, then a single. Okay, and now we've made it to that little area that is different for our shaping. So to complete this row, into the next stitch, place a single crochet. Now our very next stitch, which you can see this sort of little loop here, that's from our slip stitch. And here is the first stitch of our bottom ribbing, where we placed that slip stitch into. So into that same stitch where we made our slip stitch, place a single crochet. So that anchors in our rows that we added up here right into our shaping. So you should have 10 stitches left in your row for your ribbing portion. So into those stitches, place your single crochet into the back loop only, just like normal for the ribbing. Okay. So go ahead and do that down, chain 1 and turn, and then do your ribbing on up. And I'm going to show you guys the very end of my ribbing into the next area, just to show you that at this point you really can just start your pattern back up as normal, as if we hadn't done anything fancy there before. Okay, so I did my first 9 single crochet into the back loops only, and I have 2 more to go for my ribbing. So here is my 10th, and then here is my 11th. Okay, so ribbing completed. And then now I'm going to begin my lemon peel stitch. So into my next stitch I will place a single crochet, and then into my next one a double crochet, and then my single, and then my double. Okay, so you can see that we can just very smoothly pick the ribbing right back up with our cute little shaping right there. So keep doing your lemon peel stitch, single double on up, and then when you have 4 stitches remaining, I will join you. So I have my 4 stitches remaining in the row, and I've just completed a double crochet. So this row is going to begin our decreases toward that middle of the bralette. Okay. So into the next stitch, place a single, and then into the next one, a double. And here are our 2 remaining stitches. And this is where we are going to be placing our decrease. So for the decrease, insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. Now yarn over, insert your hook into the final stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That is our decrease. So our next row is going to begin with a decrease. So chain 1 and turn your work. Now these very first 2 stitches are going to be where we place our decrease. So begin by yarning over, inserting your hook into the first stitch and drawing up a loop. Then yarn over and draw through 2 loops. Now insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and draw through all 3 loops. Okay, so there is our decrease. Our next stitch is a double crochet. Okay, then a single and a double. Alright, so go ahead and just keep doing your single double on down. Do your ribbing, turn, create your ribbing, and then single double on up. And then we are going to have another decrease at the end of the row. So I will meet you guys when I have 4 stitches remaining. So I have 4 stitches remaining, and I've just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch I will place a single crochet, and then into the next one a double crochet. So for my last 2 stitches I will create my decrease. So insert your hook and draw up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the final stitch and draw up a loop, yarn over and draw through 2 loops, there, and then yarn over and draw through all 3. Okay. Now chain 1 and turn. And now this row begins with a decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch and draw up a loop, then yarn over and draw through 2 loops. Insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Now double crochet into the next stitch, single into the next, double into the next, and continue your lemon peel stitch pattern down. Create your ribbing, turn, create your ribbing, and lemon peel stitch on up, and then I will show you that decrease again at the top. I have my 4 remaining stitches for this row, and I've just completed a double crochet. So now I will single crochet into the next stitch, and then double crochet into the next. For my last 2 stitches, I will place my decrease. Alright. Now we are going to begin our more gradual decreasing toward the middle of our bralette. And this next row is also going to place a decrease in this area where we placed our increases before. So for the next row we will chain 2 and turn our work. So this chain 2 counts as a double crochet for this very first stitch. So then into the next stitch, place a single crochet. Now double, and then now single and double. So we are going to continue our lemon peel stitch until we have 2 stitches remaining in the lemon peel stitch portion. Okay, so that means we will have 13 stitches remaining total if we include the ribbing. Okay, so we have those 2 remaining stitches in the lemon peel stitch portion. And we are going to place a decrease here. Okay, so insert your hook into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up your loop. Yarn over and draw through 2, and yarn over and draw through all 3. Now place your single crochet into the back loop only for each of the next 11 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. Alright, so this row is going to place another decrease right in this area. So start with your 11 single crochet into the back loops only for your ribbing. So now we are going to begin with a decrease in this lemon peel stitch portion. So for this decrease, begin by yarning over, inserting your hook into that first stitch and pulling up a loop, then yarning over and drawing through 2 loops. Now insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. So there is our decrease. Our next stitch is a double crochet, and then our next stitch is a single, and then a double, and then a single, and a double. Go ahead and continue your single and double and single and double on up, and then we are placing a decrease at the end of this row. So when I have 4 stitches remaining, I will meet you guys to show you how to do this decrease. I have 4 stitches remaining. So be careful to include that chain 2 as a stitch, because as you can see, it can kind of get lost there. Okay, so I've just completed a single crochet. Into my next stitch, we'll place a double crochet. And then to my next stitch, a single crochet. So now we are ready for our decrease. So for this decrease, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Then yarn over and draw through 2 loops. Now you need to find that second chain of your chain 2. Into that second chain, insert your hook, and then draw up your loop. Yarn over and draw through all 3. There's our decrease for this row. So our next row does not begin with a decrease. We're just going to create a normal row on down. So chain 1 and turn your work. Into the very first stitch, place a single crochet. And into your next stitch, a double crochet. Single and double. Right? Go ahead and finish your row. Do your ribbing, turn your work, do your ribbing, and then make your lemon peel stitch pattern. So single double on up. And then we are going to end the next row with a decrease into the last 2 stitches. So I will meet you there to do that with you. I have 2 stitches remaining in my row. Alright, so I'm ready for my decrease. I've just completed a double crochet. So for this decrease, insert your hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through 3 loops. Our next row does not have a decrease, so we are going to chain 2 and turn our work. And this counts as our first double crochet for the first stitch. Right? So into the next stitch, place a single crochet. Now double, and then single, and double on down. And again, finish this row, turn, and do the next row, and then when there are 2 stitches left, I will join you. I have reached those last 2 stitches of my row. I have just completed a single crochet. Alright, so into my last 2 stitches, I will be placing my decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop. Yarn over and draw through 2 loops. Then find that second chain of your chain 2. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. For the next row, chain 1 and turn your work. Place a single crochet into the first stitch, then a double into the next. And then finish your lemon peel stitch down, make your ribbing, turn, make your ribbing, begin that lemon peel stitch up, and then I will do that decrease with you guys at the end. I have made it back to the top of this row. I have my 2 stitches remaining. Okay. So for this decrease, insert your hook into that stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over and insert your hook into the last stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over and draw through 2, then yarn over and draw through 3. Alright, now that was the final decrease row for this size. So here is what my work looks like at this point. Right? So we have reached the place where we will do our middle 2 rows, and those are not going to have any increasing or decreasing. And then after that we will begin to mirror this side on the other side. So after we complete those next 2 rows, we will begin our increasing back up to the top of the second cup of the bralette. Okay, so for these next 2 rows, which will be our middle 2 rows, we are not going to increase or decrease. So, chain 2 and turn your work. Now this chain 2 counts as our first double crochet. So into the next stitch, place a single crochet. And then double and single and double down do your ribbing, turn, make your ribbing, single double on up, and I will finish that row with you guys. And just keep in mind that that row also does not have any increasing or decreasing. Okay. So I have 3 stitches remaining in this row. I've just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch, we'll place a single, into the next, a double, right? And then my final stitch is that chain 2. So I'll find the second chain, insert my hook, and place a single crochet. So there are our middle 2 rows. We will now begin doing our gradual increasing to lead toward the top of the second cup. So to begin, we will chain 1 and turn our work. We are going to start this row with an increase into the first stitch. So into that first stitch, place a single crochet, and then into that same stitch, a double crochet. Now single crochet into the next stitch, and double crochet into the next, and continue on down. Okay, so like normal, go ahead and lemon peel stitch down, create your ribbing, turn and do that ribbing, lemon peel stitch on up, and then that next row is going to end without any increasing or decreasing. So I will meet you guys when I have 4 stitches remaining to do it with you. So I have my 4 stitches remaining, and I've just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch, I will place a single, into the next a double, and then into the next a single, and into the final a double. To start our next row, we are going to chain 2 and turn our work. Okay, so this is an increase row. So we are placing an increase into this very first stitch, and this chain 2 counts as our first stitch of the increase because this counts as our double crochet for the first stitch. So there's our first one. Now into that very first stitch, insert your hook and place a single crochet. So there are our 2 stitches for this increase. Next stitch is a double crochet. Then the next one is a single, and then double, and then single, and then double. Right? Continue on down, make that ribbing, turn, make that ribbing, and single double on up. And then again, we are not doing any increasing at the end, so I will meet you with 4 stitches left to make that with you. So I have 4 stitches left in my row, and I've just completed a single crochet. Now double crochet into the next stitch, then single, and then double, and then find that second chain of your chain 2 and place a single crochet into that chain. Okay. The next row will begin with an increase. So chain 1 and turn your work. Into the first stitch, place a single crochet, and then into that same stitch, place a double crochet. Single into the next stitch, and double, into the next. Alright, go ahead and complete the row on down. turn, and then do the row back on up. And I will again complete this, the end of the next row with you. So I have 4 stitches left in my row, and I've just completed a double crochet. So to complete the row, we'll single into the next stitch, then double, and then single, and then double. Now our next row is going to begin with an increase like normal, and then we will also be placing an increase down here at the bottom of the lemon peel stitch before we start the ribbing. So to begin the next row, chain 2, turn your work. Alright, so that counts as our very first stitch in our increase. So into that very first stitch, also place a single crochet. Now double crochet into the next one. Okay, so single and then double on down. Okay, so I have 2 stitches left in my lemon peel stitch portion. So into my next stitch, I will single crochet. And now into my final stitch of my lemon peel stitch portion, I will place a double crochet, and then into the same stitch, a single crochet. Now I will create my 11 single crochet into the back loops only for that bottom ribbing. Okay. Chain 1 and turn your work. And now begin the row with your 11 single crochet into the back loops only. Okay, so there are my 11. So into the very first stitch for your lemon peel stitch portion, place a single crochet. And then into this exact same stitch, place a double crochet. And there is your increase. Your next stitch will be a single crochet, and then your next one a double crochet. Okay, so go ahead and keep doing that single double on up, and I will finish the row with you. I have 3 stitches remaining in my row, and I have just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch, I'll place a single crochet, then a double into the next one, and then I will find the second chain of my chain 2, insert my hook, and place my single crochet. Now we are going to switch to our quicker increase. So we will be placing an increase at the start and then at the end of the next 5 rows, right? So chain 1 and turn. And then to begin with the increase, place a single crochet into the first stitch, and then into the same stitch place a double crochet. Now single crochet into the next stitch, and then double into the next, and then just do that lemon peel stitch on down as normal. Make your ribbing, turn your work, make your ribbing, and then lemon peel stitch on up, and then we are going to end with an increase. Okay, so when I have 3 stitches left, I will join you and show you how to do that increase. So I have 3 stitches left in my row, and I've just completed a single crochet. So into the next stitch. There we go. Place a double crochet, then a single crochet into the next one. And now into our very final stitch of this row, we are going to make an increase. So begin with a double crochet into that final stitch, and then into the same stitch, place a single crochet. Okay, so chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're going to begin with an increase. So place a single crochet into the first stitch, and then into that same stitch, a double crochet, single crochet into the next stitch, and then double into the next. Okay, so single double down. Make your 11 single crochet into the back loops only. Chain 1, turn, make those 11 single crochet into the back loop only, and then single double on up. And then again, I will meet you guys toward the end to make the increase with you. So I have 2 stitches remaining in this row, and I've just completed a double crochet. So I'll place a single crochet into the next stitch, and then my final stitch will get my increase. So place a double crochet, and then into that same stitch, a single crochet. Alright, now we have one more row to make that has the increases. So chain 1 and turn your work. Okay. And into this first stitch we will place an increase. So single crochet into the stitch, and then into the same stitch, double crochet. Now single crochet into the next stitch, and double into the next. Okay, lemon peel stitch on down, make your ribbing, chain 1 and turn, make your ribbing, lemon peel stitch on up, and then at the top we are not going to have any increasing or decreasing, so I will join you guys at the end of that row like normal and finish it with you. So I have 4 stitches remaining in my row, and I've just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch I'll place a single crochet, then a double into the next, then a single, and then a double. Okay. So that row that we just completed is the first row of the top of our second cup. Okay. So our next row is also going to have no increasing or decreasing at the top, since it's the second row for our little top of the cup. Okay. And then this next row is going to begin the shaping for this portion of the cup, just like we did on the first cup. Okay. So to begin that row, chain 1 and turn, and then place a single crochet into the first stitch, then a double crochet into the next one, then single and double, and go ahead and continue that until you have your 11 single crochet back loop only remaining, plus 2 more stitches. Okay, so once you have 13 stitches total remaining, join me back here and I will make the shaping with you. I have 13 stitches remaining in my row, and I have just completed a double crochet. Okay, so remember that for the shaping we're not going to be doing the bottom ribbing, right? So these last 2 stitches here are our last 2 stitches for our lemon peel stitch. Okay, so into the next stitch place a single crochet, then into this stitch where we would normally place a double, place a single. This is the very first stitch of our bottom ribbing. Okay, so into this stitch place a slip stitch, then turn your work. So remember that we are going to ignore this slip stitch. It's not going to count as a stitch for us. So skipping right past that, we want the next stitch. Okay, so into that next stitch, place a single crochet. Then into the next, a double crochet, and then a single, and then a double, and continue that on up your row. Okay, then when we get to the top, we are going to begin our decreases to go back down for the final portion of this cup. Okay, so when I have 3 stitches remaining up at the top, I will meet you guys and make that decrease with you. I have 3 stitches remaining in my row. I have just placed a single crochet into the last stitch. So now into my next stitch I will place a double crochet. Now I have 2 stitches remaining, so I am ready to make my decrease. So to make the decrease, insert your hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over and draw through 2 loops, then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. To begin the next row, chain 1 and turn your work. Okay, so we are going to place a decrease into the first 2 stitches of this row. So yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch and drop a loop. Yarn over and draw through 2 loops. Insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Okay, so there is our decrease. Our next stitch is a double crochet, and then single, and then double, on down. And then when I am toward the bottom here, I will meet you guys to show you again how to finish off the shaping to be so that we can pick back up our bottom ribbing rows. Alright, so I have made it toward the end of the lemon peel stitch portion for this row, and I have just completed a single crochet. So into my next stitch, I'll place a double crochet, into my next one, a single crochet, and now I have 1 stitch remaining in the lemon peel stitch portion. So into this stitch, I'm going to place another single crochet. Okay. Now the next stitch that we want is this stitch right down here, where we placed our slip stitch from the row before. Okay, so this is the very first stitch of our ribbing. And into this stitch, we'll place a single crochet. Now we have 10 stitches remaining for our ribbing. So into each of the next 10 stitches, place your single crochet into the back loop only. Chain 1 and turn. Begin with 11 single crochet into the back loops only, 1 into each of those first 11 stitches. Okay, and then we can do our lemon peel stitch like normal. So into the first stitch, place a single crochet, and then into the next, a double crochet. So single and double your way on up. And then when I have 3 stitches left, I will complete the row with you. I have 3 stitches remaining in my row, and I've just completed a single crochet. Into my next stitch, I will place a double crochet. Right. For the final 2 stitches, we are going to place a decrease. Just like that. Okay. Our next row is going to begin with a decrease, and then we'll also place a decrease at that bottom of the lemon peel stitch portion. Okay. So to begin that row, chain 1 and turn your work. Okay. Then begin with our decrease. Okay. Our next stitch is a double crochet, and then a single crochet. Okay, so I have 2 stitches remaining in my lemon peel stitch portion, and I'm going to place a decrease into those 2 stitches. So insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop, then yarn over and insert your hook into the next one, pull up a loop, yarn over and draw through 2 loops, then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Make your ribbing just like normal. So go ahead and complete that ribbing, chain 1 and turn, and then make your 11 single crochet into the back loops only, and then I will meet you there to make the next decrease with you. I have made my 11 single crochet into the back loops only. So we're going to begin this lemon peel stitch section with a decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and draw through 2 loops, insert your hook into the next stitch and draw up a loop, then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Our next stitch is a double crochet, then single, and then double. So we are not going to place a decrease at the top this time. We are ready to begin the more gradual decreasing portion. So we will simply lemon peel stitch all the way up the row. So I will keep doing this and then meet you guys when I have a few left. I have 2 stitches left in my row and I've just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch I will place a single crochet, and into my final stitch a double crochet. To begin the next row, chain 1 and turn. Now the rows that go this direction are going to begin with a decrease. So to make this decrease, insert your hook into the first stitch and draw up a loop. Yarn over and insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and draw through 2 loops, then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Then the next stitch is a single crochet, and the next one is a double crochet. Go ahead and continue making that lemon peel stitch on down, making your ribbing, turning and making the ribbing, and then lemon peel stitching on up, and again I will meet you guys at the end to complete the row with you. So I have 3 stitches left in my row. I've just completed a double crochet. So into my next stitch I will place a single crochet, then a double crochet into the next, and a single crochet into the final. Chain 1 and turn your work. Alright, so we're going to begin with our decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch and draw up a loop, then yarn over and draw through 2 loops. Insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Now your next stitch is a double crochet, then a single crochet and a double crochet. On down, go ahead and keep going, make that ribbing, turn your work, make your ribbing, and then lemon peel stitch on up. And then I will go ahead and finish the row with you guys again. So I have 3 stitches remaining in the row, and I've just completed a single crochet. So into my next stitch I'll place a double crochet, then a single, and then a double. Chain 1, turn your work, and then we are going to begin with a decrease. Okay, our next stitch is a single crochet, then a double crochet. So again, finish this row, turn and come back up, and I will meet you at the end. I have 3 stitches remaining in the row, and I've just completed a double crochet. So now I will finish with a single crochet into the next stitch, a double into the next, and then a single into the next. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now we will begin with our decrease stitch. And then double crochet. Then single crochet and double crochet. And finish the row, turn, make the next row on up, and again I will finish it with you. Alright, I have 2 stitches left and I've just completed a double crochet. So to finish the row, place a single crochet into the next stitch, and then a double crochet into the final stitch. So here is what my work looks like at this point. That is the entirety of the front portion completed now. So all of this lemon peel stitch portion is done. So what we have left to do for this main portion of the bralette is to repeat this portion for the other side. So to switch to our next stitch, begin by chaining 1 and turning your work. Skip the very first stitch, and then into the second stitch place a single crochet. Into the same stitch place a double crochet. Skip the next stitch, find the back loop only of the next one, and place a single crochet. And then into that same stitch, a double crochet. So skip the next stitch, find the back loop of the next one, and then place your single and your double both into that same loop. Okay, so skip, back loop only, single, and double. Skip, back loop, single, and double. Okay, and now we can make our 11 single crochet into the back loop only. Let's go ahead and complete that. Chain 1 and turn, and create those first 11 single crochet into the back loop only. Okay, so now we are ready for the Suzette stitch. Coming back up, so skip the first stitch here, and then into that back loop, place a single crochet and a double crochet. Skip, back loop, single, and double. So we're going to keep going like this until we have 2 stitches left in the row. Here are my last 2 stitches. So skip the next one, and then through both loops of the final stitch, place a single crochet and a double crochet. Okay, so that is our pattern for the rest of this portion of the bralette. We need a total of 18 rows of this portion for this section. Okay, so we just completed 2 of them together, so we need to do that for 16 more rows. Alright, so go ahead and repeat until you have 18 total rows of this stitch section, and I will meet you guys when I have completed mine. Alright, I have completed all of my rows, so I now have 18 right in this area from here to here. So I am ready to make my final 2 rows for this area, which will create those holes for the corset tie. Then all we have left to do is the top and then the straps. Okay, so for our next row we will chain 1 and turn our work, and then we are simply going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way down. First stitch, single, then the next one, a single, and so on, all the way down. And then when you get to the bottom ribbing, you still are going to continue just doing a single crochet. So no more single crochet into the back loop only. We're just going to create a regular crochet. Okay, so single crochet into each stitch all the way down to the end of the row. Okay, so for our final row, chain 1 and turn. And now we will create the holes to match the other side. So into the first stitch, place a single crochet, then chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then place 3 single crochet. So 1, 2, and then 3, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then 3 single crochet, chain 1, skip, 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 3 single crochet. You should have 2 stitches left. Chain 1, skip, and then single crochet into that last stitch. Okay, there are our holes. Now we are going to turn our work this way. Okay, so we've been crocheting side to side this direction. So take your whole top and turn it this way. Right? So this is the top. We are going to place a single crochet edging across that entire top area. So chain 1, then into this first little spot, place your first single crochet. Okay? So then find the next spot you would like to place your single, and then place it there. Right, so since this is the side of our stitches, it's not quite so clear where to place those singles. So this is really up to you. I'll place another one right here. And then another one right here. And so on. So place single crochets all along here. All the way up. All the way down. Then back up. And all the way across to the end. Okay? And then be sure to sort of hold up your top to yourself at this point. You can change the way you have done the single crochet edging to make the top part a little bit tighter on your body, right? So if you end up wanting this to curve in a little bit more, then you can place less single crochets into the spots, right? And then if it's too tight on you and it's curving in too much, you want to go back and place more single crochets into those spots. So I will show you mine when I have completed it. I have finished that top single crochet edging. So here is what my work looks like at this point. Okay, so be sure that you are happy with this edging. It's really important to make sure that it is tight enough for the overall fit. Okay, so this really is a significant part of making sure that you are going to be happy with the way this fits you at the end. So be sure to redo it if you're not pleased with how tight it is there. Okay, and then at the end I went ahead and cut and tied my yarn. And what we have left for this main portion is the straps. Okay, so I'm going to be reattaching my yarn right here at this end, which is why I cut and tied over there. So you could always keep your yarn attached, chain 1, turn your entire project, and then do this next portion. And then you'll have 2 less ends to weave in. But I like the way that it looks when I go back to the start and do it, it just has a different appearance when you do it that way, that I prefer. Okay, so I'm going to attach my yarn right here. Okay, and then I will show you guys the final little step. Okay, I have attached my yarn. So into that very first stitch, which is the first single crochet you made for that top edging, go ahead and place another single crochet. Then I like to go ahead and chain one at this point, skip my next single crochet stitch, and then single crochet into the next one. So this gives me the top hole that I like to use for my corset tie, which is the holes are right here, because I like to be able to tighten it at the very, very top. So you can just place a single crochet there if you prefer. Okay, then make one more single crochet. Now chain two. So for this little spot, this is going to create the hole for our strap to pull through to make it adjustable. So if you are concerned about the length, you can always chain 3 instead. It will create a bigger little spot for your strap. I think I'm going to do that this time. Okay, I often just chain 2 though, so that's up to you. Alright, so skip the next stitch and then place your single into the next. Okay, so there's this nice large hole for the strap to pull through. Right? And then on that portion, you can also move this placement if you want the strap to attach on the back in a different spot, right? So you could always move it all the way over here if you wanted to, or you could move it further in. This is just my preferred placement, so feel free to play around with that. Alright, and then I just single crochet all the way across the rest of this top edging. Okay. So single crochet once in each of these single crochet stitches, and then go ahead and continue that on up until you get to the top of your cup, right? Because this is where we are going to create the strap. So I will create my edging on up to here, and when I get here, I will show you guys how I make the strap. So I have made it to the spot at the top of my cup where I want to begin my strap. Okay, so this is going to be a double crochet strap. So we're going to be chaining up and out of this stitch that you're at. This stitch is going to be skipped over, and then we're going to attach the strap back down here. Okay, so the strap is going to take up a total of 3 stitches. So you can keep that in mind when you pick the spot you would like to create your own strap out of. Alright, so to create the strap, you can crochet any length that you want. And remember that we are making it adjustable by pulling it through this loop at the back and on up. So you do need to be sure to create a strap that is longer than you want it to be. Alright, because we need that extra to pull up and around. So for me, I like to make my strap 68 chains long for this size of yarn. Alright, so just go ahead and chain 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on until you have the length that you want. So I'll meet you guys back here when I have made my 68 chains. Okay, I have completed my 68 chains. So I'm going to skip the very first 2 chains and place my next stitch into that 3rd chain. So you yarn over and then find that back bump of your chain. So find the 3rd one and then place your double crochet into that chain. Right? And then simply place 1 double crochet into each chain all the way down until you reach the place that you started your strap. So I've made it back down to the top edging here is my nice long strap. Okay. So I've just placed that last double crochet here into my final chain. To complete my strap, so right here is that single crochet that we placed before creating the chain, right? So into the edge of this, which is right here, I like to place one more double crochet, right? And that helps there to not be as big of a gap between the top here and this stitch. So now skip the next single crochet here, and then place a single crochet into the next one. And there is our strap, nice and attached. Right. So now we can continue to place a single crochet in each stitch across. Go ahead and do that. Then when you get to that place where you would like your second strap, repeat the exact same process that you used for this first strap, and then continue to crochet across. And then let's see, when you have 5. So when you have 5 stitches remaining at this point before the end, go ahead and play the video again, and I will meet you here to show you how to finish off this side. Okay, I have 5 stitches remaining, so I will chain 3, skip the next stitch, and then place a single into the next. So there is the hole for our other strap. Okay. Then one more single crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then single crochet into the final stitch. And there's that top hole for my corset tie. And now you are ready to fasten off your yarn. Okay, so we are just about finished. Go ahead and weave in your ends, and then I will show you the button placement. Okay, so I have my little button right here, and here is my strap. Right, so I have already pulled the end through this hole in the back. Right, so this is what you will be doing. You just pull this here, pull it through and around, and then it will fold in like that. So this is where the button goes. Okay, so you can sew it on right there, and then it'll be right here to button through any place that you want it on the strap. Okay, so that's how you find the right side to put the button onto. All right, and then just go ahead and sew that on, which I will go do right now. Okay, so here are my buttons all sewn on, and all that is left to do is to create the little tie and weave it in for the corset back. So to make this, I normally just chain a really long length and then weave it through. So if you like to make cute little tassels at the end or add beads or anything you want, feel free to do that. Be as creative as you want with the strap. You can use any material you want to, a ribbon, anything. Okay, so I'm just going to do my long chain, weave it through, and then show you guys how that looks. And here is the back of my bralette with the little tie all woven in. Alright, I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you next time. Bye!